While the world grapples with instability, 10 powerful countries are strategically shifting their focus to the Philippines in 2025. This isn't merely outsourcing, it's a significant global shift, and the Philippines is at its epicenter. Number 1. United States. In 2025, the United States is subtly reconfiguring parts of its global presence, with the Philippines emerging as a primary destination. American companies, investors, and even retirees are recognizing a critical truth. The Philippines provides a unique blend of low costs, high English fluency, cultural compatibility, and a strategic location in Southeast Asia. For decades, the U.S. has relied on the Philippines for outsourced customer service, business process operations, and healthcare support. Now, this relationship is evolving. With the rise of remote work and surging labor costs in the U.S., major corporations like J.P. Morgan, Citibank, and Amazon are expanding their operations in Metro Manila, Cebu, and Davao. This expansion isn't just for call centers. It extends to finance, IT, logistics, and creative roles. Simultaneously, increasing tensions in East Asia, particularly with China, are prompting U.S. military planners to reinvest in their regional presence. Through the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, the U.S. is gaining access to key Philippine military bases, bringing American personnel, defense contractors, and technology with them. Even U.S. retirees and remote workers are joining this wave. With its tropical climate, affordable private health care, and straightforward visa policies, the Philippines is becoming a new Florida for digital nomads and veterans, but with superior views and lower rent. Number 2. Japan. Japan, one of the world's most advanced economies, is undergoing a quiet transformation, with the Philippines at its core. In 2025, Japan is rapidly relocating portions of its industrial base, service sector, and even training infrastructure to the Philippines. This move isn't a sign of Japan's weakness, but rather a response to its aging, slowing, and increasingly expensive economy. With one of the fastest aging populations on Earth, Japan faces a severe labor shortage, and domestic costs are rising. Consequently, Japanese companies are turning to the Philippines, a nation with a young, educated, and English-speaking workforce ready to fill these gaps. From automotive suppliers to electronics firms and logistics hubs, Japanese companies are establishing satellite factories and training centers across Luzon and Visayas. The shift isn't purely economic. Culturally, Japan and the Philippines have cultivated a strong, respectful partnership over the past decades. Thousands of Filipino caregivers are now employed in Japanese elder care facilities, while Japanese engineers train Philippine teams in advanced manufacturing and robotics. Many firms are even relocating entire training departments to the Philippines, recognizing they can scale operations faster and more cost-effectively there. Tourism and real estate investment are also flourishing. Japanese retirees are purchasing condominiums in Cebu, Davao, and Subic, attracted by the low costs, warm weather, and reliable private medical care. Number 3. South Korea. South Korea is a global leader in electronics, entertainment, and innovation, but in 2025, it's also at a turning point. As competition intensifies, costs rise, and the regional balance shifts, South Korean companies are increasingly relocating parts of their business operations to the Philippines. This move is not accidental, it's strategic, calculated, and rapidly expanding. Major Korean conglomerates like Samsung, LG, and Hyundai have long utilized the Philippines for basic manufacturing, but they are now expanding into IT services, logistics, e-commerce support, and digital media production. The Philippines offers a unique combination of low operational costs, high English fluency, and a culturally aligned workforce that understands both Western and Asian markets. Concurrently, South Korea's global cultural wave, from K-pop to Korean dramas, is being amplified by young, tech-savvy Filipino creatives. Marketing, video editing, subtitling, and social media campaigns are increasingly managed from Manila and Cebu, where Korean companies are building digital content studios staffed by local teams. There's also a growing influx of South Korean entrepreneurs, educators, and retirees settling in the Philippines. Korean international schools, restaurants, and small businesses are thriving in areas like Angeles City, Baguio, and Subic, with relaxed visa policies and affordable healthcare making it a second home for many. Number 4. Australia. Australia has historically looked north to Asia for trade and growth, and in 2025, the Philippines has become its crucial regional partner. With rising domestic costs, labor shortages, and increasing pressure to diversify supply chains away from China, Australian companies and individuals are relocating to the Philippines in growing numbers. For Australian businesses, particularly in sectors like education, finance, logistics, and real estate, the Philippines offers skilled labor at a fraction of Australian costs. Business process outsourcing, BPO, from cities like Manila and Davao has matured beyond call centers to include legal processing, data analytics, and software development. Many Australian firms have moved core functions offshore to maintain competitiveness. However, it's not just companies relocating, people are too. Thousands of Australian retirees, remote workers, and digital nomads are choosing the Philippines for its warm climate, affordable living, and ease of access. Coastal areas like Palawan and Cebu are experiencing a boom in real estate developments designed for Australian expats, complete with familiar amenities, English-speaking communities, and private healthcare. Education is another expanding link, with Australian universities establishing satellite campuses and online learning hubs in the Philippines, while Filipino students and professionals pursue Australian accredited degrees without leaving their country. Number 5. Germany. Germany, the industrial engine of Europe, is now subtly shifting parts of its global operations to the Philippines in 2025. Faced with labor shortages, escalating energy costs, and geopolitical tensions in Europe, German companies are seeking stability and scalability in Southeast Asia, and the Philippines is emerging as a surprising favorite. One of the biggest drivers is manufacturing. As tensions with Russia continue to strain Europe's energy supply and production costs skyrocket, German engineering firms, automotive suppliers, and precision manufacturers are opening new assembly and support facilities in regions like Clark, Subic, and Batangas. These locations offer access to deep water ports, economic zones, and a young, trainable workforce. Germany's renowned Mittelstand, small to medium-sized enterprises that power its economy, are also looking abroad. They are drawn to the Philippines not just for affordability but for its reliable English-speaking talent pool, improving infrastructure, and legal transparency compared to other low-cost markets. Another surprising trend is in renewable energy and environmental technology. As Germany doubles down on green technology, it's partnering with Filipino developers and local governments to test and deploy solar, wind, and smart grid solutions in real-world tropical conditions, something Germany cannot replicate at home. On the cultural front, German expats, engineers, and educators are also settling in cities like Cebu and Baguio, where international schools and stable communities are rapidly growing. Number 6. Canada. Canada is recognized for its stability, diversity, and global outlook, but in 2025, it's also one of the countries most actively relocating talent, services, and capital to the Philippines. As Canada grapples with high costs, housing shortages, and a tight labor market, its businesses are finding a reliable partner for long-term growth in the Philippines. Canadian tech companies and startups, especially in software, fintech, and e-commerce, are now building dedicated teams in Metro Manila, Iloilo, and Cebu. These are not merely outsourced call centers. They are full-scale development and innovation hubs staffed by Filipino engineers, designers, and analysts trained to Canadian standards. There's also a significant expansion in education and healthcare cooperation. Canadian universities are partnering with Philippine institutions to offer joint programs, while healthcare providers are investing in training and recruiting Filipino nurses and caregivers, not just for immigration but for remote healthcare delivery and global telemedicine networks. Even the Canadian government is considering the Philippines as a staging point for regional operations in disaster response, supply chain logistics, and diplomacy in Southeast Asia. With growing Chinese influence in the Pacific, Canada is positioning the Philippines as its strategic anchor in Asia. Meanwhile, an increasing number of Canadian retirees and remote workers are relocating to cities like Tagaytay and Dumaguete, attracted by the low cost of living, tropical climate, and visa-friendly policies. Number 7. Singapore. Singapore is one of the wealthiest and most technologically advanced nations globally, yet also one of the smallest and most space-constrained. In 2025, Singapore is expanding beyond its borders, and the Philippines has become its prime destination for relocation, investment, and regional growth. The biggest factor is space and scalability. Singapore's land is limited, and its costs are exorbitant. Consequently, Singaporean companies, especially in logistics, warehousing, tech, and manufacturing, are establishing secondary hubs in Clark, Subic, and Laguna, where industrial zones, tax incentives, and a skilled workforce are ready to accommodate expansion. The Philippines is also playing a vital role in Singapore's fintech and digital economy boom. Filipino developers, customer support teams, and compliance specialists are increasingly powering Singapore-based platforms. Startups in Singapore often build their entire back-end operations in the Philippines, from financial processing to product design. In healthcare and education, the partnership is rapidly growing. Singaporean hospitals are investing in Filipino training programs and diagnostic centers, while Singaporean universities and research institutes are launching collaborative programs with Philippine institutions to expand regional influence. Even Singaporean families and retirees are relocating to the Philippines, particularly in well-developed areas like Taguig, Cebu, and Batangas, where luxury communities and international schools cater to global standards at a lower price point. Number 8. United Kingdom. After Brexit, the United Kingdom has been compelled to re-evaluate its global relationships, and in 2025, the Philippines is emerging as one of Britain's key new hubs in Asia. With Europe becoming more distant and expensive, British companies are relocating parts of their operations to the Philippines in search of growth, access, and lower overhead. British financial institutions, insurance firms, and legal services have begun shifting compliance, customer service, and back-end operations to Manila and Cebu. With high English fluency, familiarity with British business culture, and favorable tax zones, the Philippines offers a smooth transition for UK-based services seeking a foothold in Asia without going through Hong Kong or Singapore. However, the expansion isn't solely economic. British universities, particularly those facing funding cuts at home, are launching online degree programs and satellite partnerships with Philippine schools. This enables them to tap into the growing demand for Western education in Southeast Asia without the high cost of establishing operations in more competitive regions. Concurrently, British retirees and expats are relocating to the Philippines in larger numbers. Places like Baguio, Dumaguete, and Subic are witnessing a rise in UK-style gated communities, international healthcare access, and British-run cafes and pubs. The appeal lies in the warm weather, affordable living, and an English-speaking environment with colonial cultural ties. Number 9. France. France may be renowned for its elegance, art, and engineering, but in 2025, it's also becoming a quiet yet strategic partner of the Philippines. While not as prominent as the US or Japan, French corporations and cultural institutions are increasingly relocating parts of their operations to the islands, reshaping France's role in Asia. One key sector is aerospace and transportation. French companies like Airbus and Thales are collaborating with Philippine aviation hubs and defense sectors to expand training, maintenance, and regional logistics. The Philippines offers suitable airspace, skilled technicians, and English language capability essential for servicing fleets across Southeast Asia. Simultaneously, the fashion, luxury, and tourism industries are investing in the Filipino market, not just to sell products but to produce and manage operations locally. French fashion brands are sourcing textile support and digital services from Manila, while hotel chains like Accor are intensifying resort development in Palawan and Bohol. Education and language are also expanding. French international schools are growing in major cities, and cultural institutes are promoting French studies among Filipino youth, aiming to deepen ties and cultivate a generation of multilingual professionals to support French expansion across ASEAN. Even French digital startups in green tech, design, and AI are relocating key teams to the Philippines, leveraging lower costs, high connectivity, and a rising creative workforce. Number 10. Israel. In 2025, Israel, a nation recognized for innovation, resilience, and technological leadership, is turning to the Philippines as a new hub for expansion, safety, and regional influence. With rising instability in the Middle East and growing global demand for Israeli tech and defense solutions, Israeli companies are increasingly relocating operations, talent, and training programs to the Philippines. Cybersecurity firms, AI startups, and medtech companies based in Tel Aviv and Haifa are establishing satellite offices in Metro Manila and Cebu, where the cost of operations is significantly lower and the talent pool is deep and English-speaking. These are not just outsourcing centers. They are full-fledged R&D extensions, often working in real time with Israeli headquarters. The defense industry is also involved, with long-standing military ties between the two countries. Israeli defense tech and training contractors are partnering with the Philippine government to develop surveillance systems, drones, and communications technologies. These programs bring both expertise and personnel to Philippine shores. Beyond tech and security, Israeli agricultural companies are investing in Filipino rural development projects, applying desert farming techniques, hydroponics, and food technology to boost local food security. This win-win model allows Israeli innovation to scale in a tropical environment while providing long-term impact on Filipino communities. A growing number of Israeli entrepreneurs and families are also settling in the Philippines for its safety, religious tolerance, and favorable visa options. Communities are forming in places like BGC and Makati, where business seamlessly blends with lifestyle.